Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear students. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. Alhamdulillah, I am fine too. Today we'll be dealing with the next part of social stratification. In the first part, we have understood the different inequalities in the society, that is, gender inequality, education inequality, and social inequality. So, all these inequalities are responsible for the stratification or differentiation that is seen in our society. So, let us understand the meaning of social stratification. The human society has continued the practice of classifying the people as superior, inferior, and upper and lower, and assigning differential roles and status. So we can see that human society, the society of human beings, is continually classifying the people according to their status as superior, inferior, upper, and lower, isn't it? So, this society has been divided. So, this method of dividing the people into different strata and then assigning different roles and status in the society is called as social stratification. So, particularly, what is the meaning of social stratification? The method of dividing the people according to their status and role, that is known as social stratification. Okay, now what are the features of social stratification? Social stratification is social in nature. Okay, stratification is based on social recognition and importance is given. Here, importance is not given to the physical threats. For example, a person is looking good or bad, his height is good, she is beautiful, or he is handsome, okay, he is very strong. So, these all things are not taken into consideration. Okay, the things that are being taken into consideration are education, income, profession, skill. Okay, so all this together are responsible for the people to get stratified. Means on the basis of education, income, and profession, we see stratification, differentiation is been taking place. So this means that social stratification is social in nature. Next is social stratification is universal. Universal, by the name itself we come to know that universal means everywhere, globally. We can see social stratification everywhere. Wherever human society is existing, social stratification is also there. It is based on division of labor, profession, income, and other social threats. Okay. Next is social stratification is ancient. Ancient means from very long time we see in the human society social stratification is existing. Social stratification is found from nomadic society as well as in the modern civilized society. Today also we see stratification is taking place. Next is social stratification exists in different ways. So this social stratification exists in different names in different areas. For example, in ancient Rome, differences were there between plebeians and patricians. Means here also, like in South Africa, how we see white people and black people, differentiation is taking place. Okay, so in India also we see that stratification took place from the Varna system itself. And the people were divided into four groups like Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. So this was based on the Varna theory. Understood the features of social stratification? Let us move to the next slide. The different or major forms of social stratification. So these forms can be seen from long period. Though social stratification is present in all the societies of the world, their forms are not similar. They have differences in their structure and nature. Let's try to know the social stratification from the ancient world till the digital world. From when to when we have seen the changes are taking place in the stratification, and the major forms are given below. The first is primitive society. Primitive society means since very long back, prehistoric society. Primitive society means prehistoric society or nomadic society. From that time we are seeing social stratification. Next came the slavery. Slavery means gulamgiri. Okay, because people started to rule each other. They started to dominate each other. Next is estate system. What is estate system? Estate system means the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. So this is also another form of the social stratification. Next is Varna system. Now what is Varna system? Here Varna system is divided into four groups, and those four groups are Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. Who are these Brahmins? Brahmins are the priestly caste people who conduct yagnas, prayers, who teach people. Okay, and next is Kshatriya. Kshatriyas are the warriors or the kings who take the administration, who see the administration of the society. Okay, next are the Vaishyas. Who are Vaishyas? Vaishyas are the people who handle the business, who are merchants and landlords. Okay, next are the Sudras. Who are Shudras? Shudras are the manual laborers or the common workers, peasants and servants who work for all the above three. Now, the society was again divided into the fifth group, that is untouchable. Untouchable also were there during Varna system. That I will tell you in the next slide. Next is the major form of social stratification is caste system. Here we see today Hinduism, Muslim, Christian, all type of caste system has been started. So these are the major forms since primitive age till now in this digital world. We see these forms of social stratification is taking place in the society. Now let us understand what is untouchability. So the fifth group, okay, four groups I have discussed in the previous slide. The fifth group, which were considered as untouchables, were never considered as humans. Means those people who were in the category of untouchables, they were not at all considered as human beings. Their condition was the worst. The practice of untouchability has its beginning in Varna system itself. As I told you in the Varna system, how they divided the people into different categories. So this practice of untouchability can be seen from which system? From Varna system. The issue of touchable and untouchable is related to the profane and sacred ideas based on inequality in socio-economic areas of life. So when we see the conditions of these untouchable people, how they have been suffering, how they have been neglected by the society, how they are being not given any position in the society. Okay, on that we come to know how we can see still inequality in the society. The British government, through its Indian Act, Government Act 1935, classified the untouchables and tribal people as scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So these untouchables were called as scheduled caste and scheduled tribes after the Indian Government Act of 1935. They classified these untouchables and tribal people as scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Now, when we see the condition of these untouchable people, we can see many problems they were facing. They were facing the problems in the society. They were not given good position. When they come near to you, they should take a bath. Such things were in practice. They were kept out of education. When these priestly caste people used to teach yagnas and Vedas to the other children, the children of untouchable should not come to that area. There was also no property rights given to these untouchable people. Okay, and also there was denial of political participation also. They were not allowed to take participation in any elections. No reservation was being provided to them. By looking all these things, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar struggled a lot for the people of this untouchable, the Dalit people. So certain legal measures took place to eradicate this untouchability, and it is very important to understand what are the measures taken by the government to eradicate this untouchability. The Article 17 of Indian Constitution prohibits untouchability. So in our Constitution, Article 17 says that untouchability is not good. It should be stopped. It should be banned. It prohibits untouchability. Okay. The Government of India has implemented Untouchability Offences Act in 1955. So in 1955, the Government of India has started one act by name Untouchability Offences Act, so that people should not be stratified on the basis of their group, that is untouchability. Protection of Civil Rights Act was implemented in 1976 with necessary changes to the Act of 1955. As I told you, in 1955, which act was implemented? Untouchability Offences Act. So to that same act, again some changes have been made, some amendments took place, some changes took place, and that act was called as Protection of Civil Rights Act. In which year? In the year 1976. According to this act, practicing untouchability is a crime. Anybody who practices untouchability and they are not giving proper importance, or they are not respecting this SC and ST caste people, then that is a crime. This all happened because of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Universal right to vote and participation in election has also been provided. So, according to this act, the people who come under this category, that is SC and ST, they have the right to vote also, and they also can participate in the elections. And now we can see certain reservation is given to this SC ST people in every field. We see in government job SC ST's reservation is there. We see in elections also SC ST people reservation is there. This is all because of this act. Reservation has been given in the field of education and employment for scheduled caste and tribes along with backward classes. As I told you, reservation has been given in different fields. The SC and ST Act of 1989 has given some specific responsibility for the governments in the eradication of untouchability. So an act by name Prevention of Atrocities Act of 1989 has given certain responsibilities to the government to stop or to eradicate this untouchability. So by this we are at the end of the lesson, social stratification. I hope you all have understood. I am going to give you notes once again. Those who have not completed the notes should complete the notes and send me the pic as soon as you complete your notes. Okay. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe. Jazakallahu khair.